Hey everyone, welcome to new gameplay today. My name is Marcus Stewart. I am joined by Kyle Hilliard.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going well. Today we're looking at Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist, which is the sequel to 2021's Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights. Are you familiar with either of these games, Kyle?
No, not particularly. I mean, there's a lot of words in those titles. I feel like you could probably just cut some of those words and be equally as effective. But I do remember seeing this on some kind of stream recently. Maybe it was like a Nintendo presentation. I genuinely don't remember where I saw it, but I remember your reaction being like, oh, I played the first one of those and it was pretty good, which was enough for me to sort of raise an eyebrow and be like, okay, I'll pay attention to this thing.
You are correct. It was at a Nintendo, I believe it was the partner showcase, the whatever they call it, that first popped up, and I think it was the only one as we were covering that reacted, because I reviewed the first game, and I liked it quite a bit. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. For those that don't know, it is a Metroidvania of the action variety, where at least in that game, you played as a little girl, and you had like a little kind of like ghost knight buddy who basically did all the combat. Whereas the little girl was kind of in charge of some magical stuff. This game is apparently set in the same universe, kind of, but is otherwise unrelated as far as I can tell, just from the synopsis, where now you play as this little guy named Lilac, who is an attuner, which basically means he can heal corrupted homunculi, and you wake up in this sort of like decrepit city that has fallen apart thanks to homunculi that have run amok. But you saw there in the beginning, I met this special homunculi who decides to work with you to help try to put a stop to all this. And yeah, just like the first game, as you can see, the homunculi is the one that actually does all the combat, and Lilac is sort of in charge of she's basically like a Pokemon trainer, if you want to think of it like that. Like, the homunculi is like doing all the work, and she just sends them out.
It's a cool look, because you like just watching, even just playing for a moment here. I totally see what you mean by that. Like, it's you are singularly controlling both of them at the same time, right? It just feels like you're swinging a sword. It just happens to be swung by somebody else, right? Yeah,
like you're hitting the attack button, but yeah, when you attack, the homunculi come out, and so it's got in terms of looking good, like it's same art direction as the first game, which was a very nice art direction. Soundtrack too. It's got that very kind of like dark, almost like anime-esque vibes to it. And the thing that I liked about Ender Lilies, at least, was the sort of, I guess, to continue the Pokemon comparison, the sort of like collecting aspect, where in that game, you would collect more sort of buddies, we'll call them, to attack with, and each buddy could be assigned to a different attack button, almost vaguely like Valkyrie Profile if it wasn't an RPG, where every face button was another sort of entity's attack. And the same is true here, and we'll see a little bit later when I get another one. But right now our initial homunculi is mapped to the X button, but then you can map other homunculi that you find throughout the world to like the Y and B buttons. I'm referring to an Xbox controller specifically. And so you can mix up their attacks in different ways, because they each have their own sort of like attack properties and styles of like, oh, this one's like a heavy attack, or this one's like an archer. And, you can mix and match them however you want at designated save stations. So part of the enjoyment of Ender Lilies, outside of just being a Metroidvania and a pretty good one, is sort of like that incentive to poke around, because several of the homunculi could be missed, or not homunculi, but at least in that game, whatever the equivalent of them were.
It was something different. Okay.
Yeah, I forget what they were called, but they were more or less like corrupted monster people. So if we're looking at
that, you would put in your pocket.
Yeah, or in this case, like a weird vial. So there's a save station here. And the other thing about Ender Lilies, and it seems like it's true in this game, is that it's surprisingly, I don't think it's not surprisingly, but maybe when you look at this game, you wouldn't expect it to be difficult. The combat, especially for boss battles, is very it's about like memorizing patterns and breaking through their guard. So here's our first like I guess technically the first boss battle against this child test subject.
Yeah, there seems to be some. I mean, the sort of art direction of the game is dark, but like it seems like there's quite a bit of darkness here in just terms of tone, and like there's these like capsules in the background that were like clearly used to hold people, and like this boss is called Child Test Subject. Like it just seems dark and weird, right?
Yeah, the first game was about the first game took place in like a kingdom, and you were largely exploring a castle that had fallen into like this weird plague and transformed everyone into these monsters, and your character was the only one that could purify them. In this game, like I said, all the homunculi that have been worked on have like broken loose and like killed each other and killed a bunch of other people and have destroyed everything. So yeah, it's these games are not happy games generally. I don't think I would want to live in this world. I don't want to hang out with this child test subject that can do weird fire shurikens, but it's okay. I put them out their misery. The mask
leveled up as a result.
Yeah, as you do. Let's see, what does child test subject to say? No, don't leave me. Here, okay, so here we go. So here's the tuning process. This is how you gain new homunculi. I'm like, hey, let me give you some of my healing hands here. Maybe a little cutscene here. So I should
like a whole. Okay, this is like some Akira stuff happening here.
Sure, Kyle. Not everything's about Akira. Come on.
No, I find a way in. Okay,
you're like me with wrestling.
Exactly. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah. I should also mention
Tetsuo's hand right there. You see?
It is a cool little like I said, I really like the art direction. This cutscene kind of shows off that style of
I like the way it looks a lot. I think it's got a really cool just art style.
Yeah. So this game is in early access as of now. This is what I'm playing now, which is the first Ender Lilies also had an early access phase before it came out in 2021. I don't remember it being particularly long, like several months. I don't even know if it hit up to a year, just based on my memory. So I'm wondering / hoping that this will have a similarly, I guess, brief run in early access. But of course, you want it to spend as much time as it needs to be pretty good. But I'd say so far, based on playing like roughly the first hour, it seems pretty polished. Like didn't run into any issues. Okay. I don't know how much ultimately is available to play in this in the early access version. But yeah, it's out there now, and as you can see, we got our first homunculi. So I'm gonna switch to it in a little bit. And Kyle, you been playing I don't know if you finished it, but I think you said you've been playing Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, correct?
Yeah, I'm close. I've been taking it real slow. I'm sort of near the end, I believe, at this point.
Okay, I bring that up, and actually, just to pause, and I guess this is where we equipped your homunculi. So I'm gonna put child test subject and Y there. I actually don't know if we know this thing's name yet. We're just gonna keep calling it child test subject for the rest of the game.
CTS.
There he is. So you got a big old punch there that operates on a cooldown meter, as you can see in the lower left. So you gotta time your attacks with that one. But I like him because he'll do like a really powerful punch. I can send dudes flying, and then while they're in the air, you can follow up with the basic attack. So again, it's about kind of like figuring out how do I chain these homunculi abilities together. But yeah, I brought up Prince of Persia because as you know, that game is very big. Like it's got a huge map, and Ender Lilies was also a very big game. Like Prince of Persia actually reminded me of Ender Lilies just because I was like, I remember going to that game and just seeing how huge the map was, and I was thinking like, I don't know if I've ever seen a Metroidvania with a map this big before.
Yeah.
So I'm half expecting this to sort of continue that. Again, I don't know how much is available here, but yeah, that was another thing that stood out to me about Ender Lilies. Like I was like, oh my god, this is a meaty game. It took me probably a good like at least 20 hours to get through when I was playing it for a review, and I was being pretty thorough, poking around everywhere.
I mean that's pretty long for like a modern Metroidvania.
Yeah. And the platforming, that you can do here, you can get other platforming abilities like a double jump. Our personal favorite move that I know we both love is an air dash in these kind of games. You got that in here too. Got to have one of those.
Is it attached to a homunculus?
No, you just get it.
Oh, nice. Okay, good.
Yeah,
As it should be.
Exactly. That's just how it works scientifically. You can see here, we're looking at the... what I assume is going to be where you're pretty much going to be working your way towards throughout the game is the sort of like big city up there, like your main homunculus, who seems to have a lot of like plot significance, is like, hey, we need to go there, and I'll protect you on the way there since I'm kind of like stuck with you, so it's in my best interest to keep you alive. So yeah, let's head up to that pretty castle looking thing up there.
It's a good goal.
So now this is where the game starts to get a little bit more challenging in terms of like throwing more enemy variety at you. As you see, the enemies have like a health bar, but they also have that yellow meter, which is basically like a block bar. Like if you break through that, you'll render them vulnerable, and some enemies have harder sort of defenses to break through, and that's where you kind of use your dodge to sometimes like get behind them, or in some cases launch them in the air.
Yeah, that's certainly not like a new, mechanic, but I feel like I'm seeing it more and more. That's sort of like, stamina bar to break through along with the health bar. I don't mind it. I'm not complaining about it, but it's really popular right now. It's so hot right now.
Yeah, you don't have to be angry about it, Kyle.
I'm not. I'm not angry about it.
Hey, no need to get hot about it.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Let's see. This little person is really excited, I guess, to see.
It's like I'm guessing some kind of store or something, probably, right?
Seems like
this looks like they want to sell you something.
Because they got a backpack?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Do you see people with backpacks and just assume they're want to offer you some wares, like in real life?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, I go, what are you selling? That's how I greet them. Hello, what are you selling?
Okay, when you go to schools and you see all the kids with backpacks, you like lick your lips going like, oh, I bet they're selling some good stuff in those bags.
I do not. Don't put that on me, Marcus. Don't accuse me of that.
Go to random kids, what are you selling?
Nope, I stay away.
Fair.
But out in public, out in the city, that's different.
Right. Probably a better city than the one that we're in right now, which is currently on fire and sad.
And sad. Sad is just a tone that you apply to a city.
Yes. Also, I got a new cloak, as you can see there. It looks pretty good on me.
Yeah, it does look good.
Yeah, you can change your clothing at the benches too. And yeah, this game, like I mentioned before, it gets pretty difficult. The first game, it's got I feel like saying everything is like Dark Souls is like understandably kind of played out, but yeah, this game's systems in terms of especially like the progression and saves is kind of in that vein of if you like outside of just the difficulty and stuff like that, though it doesn't have if you die you got to go get your experience stuff back, any of that stuff, which is nice. So
but you have like limited health items that you can
like rechargeable health flask,
right? Yeah, but enemies come back after you go to save points, probably like that kind of thing, right?
Yep, got that too.
Yeah, it is almost borderline annoying that it's like people, I think, understandably get bothered by like stop comparing everything to Dark Souls, but then there are things where it's like it is a good shorthand for like, yeah, that's how this system works, and like, and if I say that, you'll immediately know what to expect going into this game. So
exactly,
hey, level up.
But yeah. This is a pretty good look at Ender Magnolia. Like I said, it's in early access now on Steam. It's supposed to be coming to consoles once it hits 1.0. We just don't know when that'll be yet. No idea what the roadmap will be for this game. I guess it just depends on, what the feedback is from people that decide to jump in early. But I'm excited to play the full game. Like I said, I'm a fan of the first game, and it's one of those games where I don't know how much of a splash it made, but I usually have to... It's usually surprising when I talk to someone that also played it, so I guess that to give you an idea of like, did anyone play the first game? It was pretty good. Feel like I'm on an island with that. So here's hoping that the second game not only is just as good, but maybe finds like a bigger audience. But we'll see, because again, I love the art direction. I think the combat's pretty good, and I think at least the lore around it is just interesting. Just a lot of weird stuff that you run into, and I'm always down for stuff like that. What do you think, Kyle? You think you'll give this a shot, or maybe make a trip back to the first game and check it out?
Yeah, I mean, I have to be in a certain mood for like a Metroidvania, but when I get into them, like I really like them a lot. And this does look like one just because I'm so sort of entranced by like the art direction that I could see myself giving it a real shot. I probably wouldn't go back to the first one. I'm always like a play the new fun thing kind of guy.
Right.
But this looks cool. I am interested in this for sure.
Yeah, at least in that case, the play the new fun thing works. Again, as far as I can tell, the story seems largely detached from the first game, so I don't think you'll have anything to worry about there. But
I'll just text you if I get confused.
Exactly. That's a good rule for life. But thanks for watching, guys. We shall see you on another episode of New Gameplay today. And yeah, have a good one.